Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 338. What a week in tech with the DOJ suing Apple over its iPhone monopoly in a landmark antitrust case. Wow, you probably heard all about that. TikTok may be banned in this country, so lots of drama there, and we'll learn a bit more about its fate next week. Formerly of CNN, Don Lemon interviewed Elon Musk over X on Twitter, Musk's social media platform, only for Lemon's show to be canceled. Okay. Amazon is in the middle of its big spring sale, as they call it, with lots of deals to be had and other really big stories this week. And we have a fantastic show planned for you, if I may say so myself, by kicking off with a chat about whiskey and technology. Yes, there is a correlation, apparently. Blacklyte will join us to chat about gaming chairs and desks. We spring into new tech with Mario Armstrong. We also get our geek on to talk about comic books with the co-owner of Silver Snail Comics about what's hot this spring and why. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out powered by Intel Core Ultra PCs, which I'll tell you more about shortly. But let's officially kick off the show with our first interview. Consider it algorithms meets alcohol. One of the biggest names in the spirit world, Diageo, which of course has more than 200 brands like Johnny Walker and Smirnoff. For the past couple of years, they've been experimenting with decoding whiskey. What does that mean exactly? And what data are they looking for and why? To tell us more, we're joined by Ewan Morgan. He's National Education Director and National Luxury Ambassador for Diageo North America. Sweet gig. Thanks for your time, Ewan. Good to chat with you.
Nice to chat to you too. Thank you so much.
I know there's a lot more to your job, but to sip whiskey as part of your occupation, I think it's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, it doesn't suck, as they say.
I would expect not. Before we talk tech and its connection to whiskey, tell us a bit about yourself, your career, and your work with Diageo.
Absolutely. So my whiskey career started officially at the age of 16 on a distillery shoveling malt every morning. But before that, I actually grew up on a distillery, third generation whiskey. My dad made whiskey. My grandfather made whiskey. I talk about whiskey, used to make whiskey. My son works in whiskey. So yeah, it's kind of like the family tradition. So yeah, I started 34 years ago in whiskey, and my day-to-day job, there is no day-to-day. I travel 85% of the year. I was just in Park City. Before that, I was in Miami. Now I'm in Scotland. So I get to travel around evangelizing about the wonderful flavors and aromas and how to taste and how to nose whiskey, and pairing dinners I do all over the country, which are wonderful. So I live a charmed existence.
It sounds like it. Congrats.
Thanks.
And you are joining us from Scotland, from the Port Ellen Distillery. What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm on Isla as we speak. I landed an hour ago and then dashed over here, set up so we can have this wee chat. What is happening here is something very exciting. So this week we are reopening a distillery called Port Ellen, and it closed in 1983 and is reopening this year. But it's quite an old distillery. You know, it was founded in 1825. Is known throughout the world with whiskey geeks and collectors as one of the rarest whiskeys on the planet, because when it did close, over 40 years ago, there was only a finite amount of that liquid left. And after all these years, there's not an awful lot out there. So yeah, it's one of those gems of the whiskey industry, and the fact that we're putting this investment into reopening it where people can visit it again, and we're going to make whiskey again and put it into barrels. So we're kind of future-proofing the legacy of this distillery. People are going to be able to taste Port Ellen into the future, into perpetuity.
Speaking of rare whiskey, and I don't want to get off topic, I don't know if you heard, I do live in Canada, and on the west coast of the country, a Vancouver liquor store this week is $228,000 richer because they sold a very rare bottle of what's called the Macallan, the Reach. It's an 81-year-old single malt. There was only 288 bottles made. You hear about this?
I did hear about it.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I used to work for the company who owned Macallan. That was part of my first job. And my cousin works at Macallan as well. And my dad lives in Aberlour in Speyside, and he looks over the river onto Macallan. So,
wow.
Yeah, very, very collectible distillery. Wonderful, wonderful whiskey.
Awesome. I hope you didn't mind me getting off topic.
Not at all.
And I wouldn't aggravate you by asking you what's better, Scotch or Irish whiskey. But let's hear more about this connection between algorithms. If I hear a click, then I know I really offended you. But it doesn't sound like you hung up on me.
I'm still here.
Let's hear more about the connection between algorithms and alcohol, as I said off the top.
Okay, so this is actually a very, very exciting step forward in the world of whiskey, for multiple reasons. One, it's the first time we've ever used this type of technology, using this DNAi algorithm. And two, it demystifies whiskey and it creates something that everybody can understand. So the way it works is we take small samples of these whiskies, and in this case from Port Ellen Distillery, from a release called the Gemini, which just came out, which is a twin bottling of 44-year-old single malts from 1978.
Wow.
And what they did was they put them into two different styles of casks. So they were in 3 sherry barrels, and then they split those into 2. And one was called a remnant cask, and one was a sherry butt. So the sherry butt is from Jerez in Spain. That's going to give you more fruity, rich qualities. Whereas the remnant cask is from liquids from the 60s through the 80s. And it would have been used as like an overflow cask that would have been in the warehouse for tasting people when they went on these wonderful distillery tours. But what we wanted to do was see the difference between the two of them. So if you think about whiskey as a huge chemistry experiment, and what happens over time is different flavors are created. Some flavors will dwindle or mellow. But what we wanted to do was take a snapshot of the two liquids and see how different they were. So using this algorithm, we put it through, liquid and gas chromatography. And if you're not a chemist, the results of these don't really make a huge amount of sense. But what this does is it pulled this data apart using millions of these data points, and then it created a visual. So what we wanted to do really is create this wonderful animation that will say, you have all of these chemicals in here, but what do these chemicals actually mean to the layman? So like vanillin will taste like vanilla. Then we've got phenol that's going to have this really nice smoky characteristic to it. Then you've got other things in there like cresol phenols and tannins and guaiacol and you've things called translactones or cislactones, and they smell and taste like coconut. So what we're doing is we're taking these chemical compounds and then attaching real world flavors or aromas to it. So anybody could then understand it, earthiness, coconut, this wonderful medicinal aroma, or spicy, or vanilla. Why does this whiskey smell and taste the way it does? And then creating this wonderful visual to explain it.
I'm going to ask you more about that in a moment. That's super cool. We are chatting with Ewan Morgan, National Education Director and National Luxury Ambassador for Diageo North America. What a title. What a job. Joining us from Port Ellen Distillery in Scotland to talk with us about algorithms and alcohol and what they're doing with this extremely rare whiskey, this Port Ellen Gemini, by analyzing it with what's called the smoke DNAi, lets you see the makeup of the whiskey. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? It's not just based on taste, like vanilla or coconut notes or anything like that.
Yeah, you can see we've created an animation, actually, of the two different liquids. And the animation will show the peaks and like the percentiles of these different congeners, we call them. Congeners are the impurities in whiskey that make whiskey. And they have different flavor profiles. You'll have smoke, sometimes you'll have richness, you'll have fruit, you'll have vanilla. And what this animation does is really show in a visual format what the percentiles look like, and then overlaying it with the chemical names. And then underneath that will show what those chemical names actually give you on the palate. So anyone can look at it, anyone can understand it. And it's got a very fancy name. They call it this digital neoteric algorithmic image. And this algorithm is used to decode and visualize the whiskey smoke and the intricate composition and evolution during aging. A lot of big words in there.
Yeah, it sounds impressive as a geek, I got to tell you. But what would you say the point is of this? And is it for like the layman, like just regular people like me? Or is it for like hardcore whiskey aficionados?
It's multi-layered. So you can go as esoteric and nerdy as you want. But on the surface of it, what we wanted to do is just create this thumbprint that anybody could look at and say, oh, that's why this tastes like the way it tastes. That's why I'm getting this sweet smoke. That's why I'm getting this coconut. That's why I'm getting this earthy medicinal note. Why am I getting them? And then they just look at this visual and it completely demystifies the whole thing.
Very cool. Where could we see this video?
The first viewings of it are actually going on as we speak in the distillery. So after this week is done, these will be available online. So they'll be shared on the social media as well. So folks everywhere can view them.
And how do we find them? Like, what do we look up? Diageo or Port Ellen Gemini?
Port Ellen has its own Instagram account. If you go onto malts.com, it should be available in there as well as all of us ambassadors and education folks on Diageo will be sharing it on their socials as well.
Thank you, Ewan. It's been great chatting with you. Really insightful.
You're so welcome. Thank you very much indeed.
More Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. Powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor, which represents the largest shift in Intel CPU design in more than 40 years, adding generative AI capabilities to the laptop. This makes accessing your data more personalized, faster, and more secure than leveraging the cloud. Get immediate results by asking your computer something like, show me the email where I was promised a raise, or where are my wedding photos? The AI PC is here. More is at intel.com/Core Ultra or intel.com/AI PC. Computer gamers often look to buy accessories for their setup, like wireless headsets, for private listening or to trash talk others online. Or maybe gamers want fast and comfortable mice and keyboards to give them an edge over the competition. Of course, there are monitors with fast refresh rates. But what about gaming chairs and desks? Well, here to tell us all about a new brand, Blacklyte, we're joined by Alex Liu. He's the founder of the company. Hi, Alex. Thanks for your time today.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having us.
For those unfamiliar with Blacklyte, and we should tell our listeners it's one word, and light is spelled Lyte, so it's all in capitals, Blacklyte. Tell us about the brand.
I would say we are an integrated system that provide a immersive experience for people who's into gaming, music, or any type of entertainment. Or we can say our brand is for the game changers, because not only for gaming industry, actually, a lot of office users can benefit from our brand also.
Thanks for explaining that. It's also for other kinds of entertainment as well as those who work in an office as well. So with that in mind, Alex, tell us about some of your more popular products.
So the two products that we launched into market right now is our gaming chair and gaming desks. We have the Athena gaming chair right now and the Atlas table. I can tell you a little bit from the chair first.
Yeah, please.
A little bit over a year and a half developing this chair to solve the back pain problem that happens to a lot of gamers and office users. We spend a lot of development power into the ergonomic design. We do have a lumbar support combined with our memory foam to give the best support to the back. And then also we use aluminum base for a more lightweight design. And then we use a level 3 piston, which supports a maximum of 150 kilograms. Should be covering majority of the population. We did use a rollerblade casters, which protects your floor, doesn't damage anything. We have a 4D armrest, which can change the direction of the armrest that can use for mobile gaming, iPad use, on the chair, lounging, or different situations. And also, we have a newly developed texture that is, we can call it the vegan wool, that's very skin friendly and very different from our competitors. For the gaming desk, that's where all the juice comes in. We can't just say a desk. It's probably more a modular platform, I would say. So we do have our own design chip and module built into the desk, powered by our own graphic algorithm and audio algorithm analytics. So basically, we're analyzing the in-screen data, take data from the game, convert them into lighting signal.
Whoa. Okay. This is really cool. Okay, Alex, you got to explain this part. So the chair and the desk, and I know you don't need to have both. It'll work with either one.
Yes.
They plug into computer or video game console?
Correct. So we run the software within the console or PC, analyze the data, and then it can sync to the other devices. And that's why I said we're an integrated brand, because it not only sync to our product, we also open bridge to a lot of different brands, which is in the development right now. I can't really claim what name they are, but you guys will start seeing stuff on the news.
All right. So just to be clear, the chair and the desk, they plug into the computer, I guess, through USB. Is that right?
So the table or the chip plug into the computer by HDMI.
Oh, HDMI.
Yes.
And then it synchronizes with that game content for lighting and sound, or just lighting?
Lighting and sound. That's why I said it's also for the music producers, because with the audio algorithm, we can analyze the tone, the pitch of different sound and create a light show for any type of music you listen to.
Okay, very cool. So there's speakers inside of the chair and in the desk.
In the chair at the moment, no. We do have a developments with light built into the chair.
Multicolored lights? Like
yes, multicolored.
RGB.
RGB, I see. You already know.
We are chatting with Alex Liu. He is founder of a company called Blacklyte. It's one word, Blacklyte. And they are the folks behind the Athena and Atlas gaming chair. And don't call it a desk. Let's call it a battle station.
Correct.
Could this work with a video game console like a PlayStation 5, an Xbox Series X, or a Nintendo Switch?
Yes, PS5, Nintendo's, Xbox,
Cool.
That requires a different hub to analyze the data. It does sync to the light too.
Okay. And do you buy the hub through Blacklyte?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Primarily, would it be fair to say that even though it's not just for gamers, it's computer gamers that are the sort of the primary target for this?
If you think of this way, if you use the hub, then it also can apply to home theaters. So that's why we always say it's immersive experiences for personalized space. It's not only gaming or PC or console. It's basically anything they want.
Some entertainment chairs recline quite a bit, so you can relax and listen to music or watch a video or something like that. Does yours, or is it an upright chair? Because it also, you said, has office applications.
Yes. Oh, this lie flat. It's not only recline, it lie flat.
Oh,
you
cool.
can take a nap on it.
Okay. All right. So the name of the company is Blacklyte. It's a relatively new brand, not just in North America, but worldwide. You've only been around a couple of years. Let's now talk pricing.
So Athena right now runs for $469, and then the Atlas table run for $999. Go blacklyte.com, GOBLACKLYTE.com.
Great. All right. Go blacklyte.com. Alex, great to chat with you. Wishing you much luck and success with the Blacklyte brand for gamers and entertainment seekers. Thanks again.
Thank you, man. Wish all the best.
That website again is goblacklyte.com. GOBLACKLYTE.com. When we return on Tech It Out, we catch up with tech lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong on some spring recommendations. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. A new season is officially here. Regardless of what it feels like, wherever you're tuning into this program today, it is officially spring, a time to renew and recharge. For some smart ideas, we're joined by digital lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong to tell us how to swing into spring with style, no less. Hey, Mario, hope you're keeping well.
I am, Mark. Thanks so much for having me on. And you're right. It's like we are officially in the spring season. It's one of my favorite seasons of the year. But where I am in New York, it's still chilly. It felt more like winter this morning. But I'm feeling kind of in the spring vibes.
All right. And you always have a spring in your step?
Yes.
So, hey, look, this is a great time of year for things like home improvements. What are some of the things that we could be thinking about?
True. Well, you called it right there. I've been thinking about a lot of the things that have been happening across the world, really, and specifically in our country, like just storm interruptions. So many different things are happening with storms and Mother Nature. And I'm like, what are we doing around portable backup power and just backup power in general? So the Anker Solix F3800 is a portable power station, and it can be used as a home power backup system, or it can even power your entire home. If you pair it with the Anker's home power panel, you get automatic use from 12 of your home's circuits. I thought that was incredible to be able to have that many circuits still available, all those appliances in your house that you could still use. If you have solar panels, it can store excess energy during the day, and then you can use that at night if you needed to. And it can also provide power for your EVs and RVs as well. So I just think backup power and portable power stations is a thing to really consider now.
And you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say it's spring, so a lot of people may start camping or glamping. And you want some you want some power with you. So this is on wheels. This is like a giant, like think of it as a power bank, like you might have for your phone in your pocket or purse. But this can take care of your appliances. And important, when there are things like CPAP machines that many people rely on every night.
Yes.
This kind of stuff is important. So that's from Anker, one of my favorite brands in this space.
It's one of my favorite brands too, which is why I really like the fact that they, went from, I'm used to carrying small Anker products that power my mobile devices or my tablets. I've been using their devices for years. They've always been consistent, reliable. So to see that they're actually doing something for bigger backup power use, I was like, oh yeah, they're the company to do that.
All right, so that's called the Anker Solix F3800 portable power station. And I know there's some accessories that you mentioned as well. And if we are celebrating Easter, what's something fun that we can add to the kids' baskets that's high tech?
I'm part of all these cool brands, and a lot of them are just like really perfect for kids and families. And I even got something for the guys. But the Tony Box is a screen-free audio system that's really made for kids ages 3 to 7. So there's no screen on this, folks. It's a little nice box. It's a cushion. And what you do is your kids will have a blast because they take these figurines and put it on top of the Tony Box, and they can choose from hundreds of different ones, like Blippi, Sesame Street, Disney, and so many more. And then each Tony figurine basically prompts imaginative play because it will launch into songs, stories, and the kids will learn everything from lessons in friendship, problem solving, mindfulness, and a lot more. It's just really fun. It's educational. It's no screens. Kids dance around it, sing along with it. It's just a lot of fun.
And here's something that even those who own a Tony Box may not know about is that the My Tony's app, it lets mom or dad or grandparents record messages and stories that the kids can listen to when they place the Tony's characters on top. So I really like that a lot. We are chatting with digital lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong, who's on this program throughout the year. He always has some great ideas for us to consider and seasonal ones as well. Speaking of which, what are a couple of simple ways that we can add some smart home products to our routine, our regular daily routine?
Yeah, and one of my favorite companies has some really great products for this, and it's Roku. I'm a big fan of their products. They always work, done phenomenally well. And I have two different options. One is their colored smart light bulbs. So one bulb has 16 million color options to control your home lighting, which is insane. From the Roku device and app, you can schedule sunrise wake-up lighting, which is really smart, or you can set the mood for anything at any time. Maybe it's a game that you're playing, or maybe it's a holiday and you want to put it for those colors. And then they also have the Roku Smart Home Indoor Camera SE. So this is great for easy home monitoring. It's got HD quality, vibrant color night vision, motion and sound detection, and you can basically see and hear what's happening from anywhere at your home. Oh, and it also can detect smoke as well as carbon monoxide and send you any alerts for any emergencies, which I thought was great.
Yeah, to get prices on all of these, we're going to plug a website in a moment and to see them in action with Mario demonstrating. And speaking of which, Mario, I know you wanted to end off on something a little less tech, but a little more fresh, let's say, to consider for the spring, tied to personal care. Again, look, I always tease how you're like the best dressed guy in the room. So I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
I mean, that's why I don't have the title tech expert, because I'm more of like a digital lifestyle kind of guy. And in that vein, it's like, yeah, it's springtime. I want us all to do better with our self-care, specifically for the guys. Look, I've been using Old Spice shampoos for a while, so I was like, let's talk about them for a second. It may be different, it may be not as techy as we're used to, but it is fitting for spring. So it's going to make your hair look fuller, healthier, more moisturized. They got great ingredients for cleansing and conditioning. My favorite is the Old Spice Swagger shampoos, because you can just use them every single day. And they just kind of, Old Spice has that vibe where you just feel shockingly confident, and it smells incredible. So you just really feel like confident, and you smell good, your hair feels soft. And I feel like it's a great way to spring you into the spring.
It's a brand like Cadillac where it's classic and still trendy, after all these decades, which is awesome.
Still trendy, still relatable. People still use it, still love it, and they keep finding new products and new ways to keep you interested. You're right. And I am a Cadillac fan, too.
There you go, as am I.
I actually have a Cadillac. That's funny you bring that up.
I do, too. There's a lot of tech in there, I'll tell you.
What do you have? Do you have a CTS?
I have a CT6. Yeah, it's a 2017 CT. It has the Super Cruise hands-free driving technology. It's got 30-odd speakers in there. It's got each of the seats are both heated and air-conditioned and massage chairs, even in the back.
Look at that. Rear view. I bet you all didn't know Mark was rolling.
That's it. I didn't know, right? The rear view mirror
awesome.
Converts into a camera. If, your rear view is like foggy or whatever, you just flick a little switch.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It's got Wi-Fi. I mean, look, this ain't your grandpa's Cadillac. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Anyways, I know you're not here to chat about caddies, but I was trying to make the connection to brands like Old Spice that still got it.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, Mario, where can we get more info on all this and pricing as well?
So you can go to the website. You can see Mark and I drive our Cadillacs. No, I'm just kidding. You can just go to inthenews.tv. We got the videos there of everything that I just talked about, pricing, and you can see me displaying and demonstrating some of this stuff as well.
Awesome, Mario. Always great to chat with you. Have a great spring, my friend. We'll chat soon.
You too, Mark. Spring into it, buddy. See you soon.
More Tech It Out coming right up.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We do cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not tech savvy. Well, one part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yep, billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. A beacon for comic book nerds on Toronto's iconic Queen Street West, the Silver Snail comic book shop is one of the oldest, biggest, and most respected in the city. And we're privileged to have on the line co-owner Brian Hamelin. Great to have you on the show, Brian.
Thanks so much for having me.
So before we hear about what's hot in comics, Brian, tell us a bit about Silver Snail.
Yeah, so we're actually coming up. It'll be 2 years. We'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the store. We've kind of existed for as long as comic shops as a idea existed. The original owner, Ron Van Leeuwen, who me and my business partner, Mark Shingra, we purchased the company from him because he's long since retired, but he actually started the store in the back of Baca Books, which is still a sci-fi and fantasy bookstore that still exists in the city on Harvard Street now. So originally it was just a stand that would sell books out of the back of there, like comic books, because kind of the idea of a comic shop, there wasn't all the memorabilia and collectibles to kind of go around with it. It was just, he'd grab them off the newsstand. So the reason we were called the Silver Snail is he had no idea if it was a viable option for a comic book store to actually sustain itself. So he figured he'd give it maybe a year or two. And then if it didn't work, he'd just switch us to a pet store. So that's the name was supposed to be dual, kind of, because at that point, now we're in crazy nerd culture where, there's so much genre shows and movies and everyone's kind of into it. But at that point, that would have been 1976. It was still pretty niche.
Awesome. Love that story. Very efficient way to choose a name. And what got you into comics, Brian? And at what age?
I was probably going to say like 5 or 6. Really what got me into it was I grew up north of the city where like we didn't have cable or anything. So I'd only get to watch cable if I went to my grandma's. And it was going there and just catching episodes of the X-Men animated series and the Batman animated series that kind of like blew my mind. And I think it was a bit of the scarcity of like not getting to see that regularly that made the obsessive part of my brain kind of want to keep looking more into all the characters. And then once I finally moved to the city, or my brother moved to the city before me, and I would come down kind of 15, 16 years old and started shopping at the Snail, that I realized like, oh, you can buy like collections of full storylines and go back. And then that started an insane going through all back issues and backstories and getting really into it until I guess I finally purchased the store or bought into the store. So that was kind of the ultimate collector thing to get.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing better than a huge collection, and I'm curious how many you own personally, by the way. Yeah, the only thing better is actually buying the store outright.
Yeah. Well, actually, now I own 0. I think I have 0 comics of my own. I have on my bookshelf a collection of Akira 1 to 6, and that's it. Everything else is in the store. So
awesome. All right. So what are some of the best-selling comics in the store right now, Brian? Is it Marvel, DC?
I mean, we've always, even through the heights of Marvel with the popularity of like the movies and stuff when they're really at their peak, we've always still been in a Batman world. Like Batman kind of has always sold no matter what, through even different relaunches of DC when some of their other books always fall out. It's like Batman is always right near the top of our list. But basically the hottest selling book right now is the Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman that they just relaunched. I guess it was last month was the new first issue, which kind of tells the story of an older Peter Parker who has like children and is with Mary Jane, but him becoming Spider-Man later in life. So it's kind of allowing the character to mature a little bit more. And generally the idea with the Ultimate Universe stuff is that changes actually stick. That's kind of the philosophy around it, where there's less kind of retconning and going back to zero and more ongoing story where things have more consequences. So that's kind of really taken over. Like it's by far our most popular book right now, and one that on release day we sold out. We're getting calls, have like second printing, third printing, people coming in, to buy multiple covers. It's been a little bit since a book's really hit like that, but that's definitely the biggest one right now.
So I get it. Batman, Spider-Man, those are some of the best sellers. But what about ones that our listeners may not know about that are hot in the comic book world?
Yeah, for sure. Since kind of the big comic movie push, like the mainstream ones, what's also been going on with that is a lot of creator-owned books getting like a lot bigger. A lot of the stuff that's done at like Image Comics, where it's the writers and artists actually maintain the rights of their stories. So a lot of those things have also turned into, huge multi-million-dollar franchises like The Walking Dead or something. But there's still continuing a lot of Image titles that are coming out that are quite exciting. Like Kaya is one, Kaya. A big one that's a bit of a favorite in the store is Minor Threats, which is written by Patton Oswalt for Dark Horse Comics, and it's drawn by Scott Hepburn. That one has a whole kind of spin-off universe where they're doing a bunch of tie-in books and kind of creating their own shared universe in the way that Marvel kind of originally did. Again, like a creator-owned kind of smaller indie book.
More with Silver Snail when we return on Tech It Out.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
It doesn't get much bigger than Silver Snail. We're chatting with the comic book store co-owner Brian Hamelin, learning about what's hot in comics. Of course, DC and Marvel. You mentioned Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman. Art was done by Tony Moore. And you're a big fan of Japanese anime across the board. You mentioned Akira. Is that a big seller also at Silver Snail?
Yeah. probably growing. The section of the store that keeps growing more and more is the manga section, like growing way more than any of our other sections. And we got a lot more requests. I think a lot of more like new readers and younger readers are a lot more excited about a lot of the Japanese stuff. I think partially it's because people are used to streaming shows and watching stuff on Netflix or watching streaming where you kind of get everything all in one. And the way that we get, like, we don't bring in Shonen Jump or any of the books that do it kind of weekly. We get the translations once it's, a full volume or like a few full volumes. So I think partially that's a more accessible way to get into something new rather than picking up issue 500 and something of an ongoing DC title. But also just, I think there's something to be said for a lot of those books are written by the artists. So it's one person kind of with a singular vision. There's something to the pacing and storytelling of that is oftentimes more captivating, at least for me. It feels like it flows a lot better.
So when it comes to upcoming books, Brian, what comics are you excited about, say maybe this spring or summer?
Yeah, so speaking of the Marvel kind of ultimate relaunch, Marvel's they do this every few years to kind of get interest, but they're relaunching X-Men. It kind of starts in May with around Free Comic Book Day, and the beginning story is going to be released in the Free Comic Book Day, one of their specials, and then they're kind of doing a line-wide relaunch of X-Men that will go through the summer. So that's definitely something that everyone's pretty excited about. I'm personally pretty excited about it because X-Men was really my gateway into this whole world. And then another big one is that Jonathan Hickman, the writer who is currently doing the Ultimate Spider-Man book, that's really exciting for us and has been generating like a lot of sales and a lot of interest, is relaunching a Doctor Doom book, which Doom hasn't had kind of his own title book for quite a few years. He's just one of those villains. The kind of era of Jack Kirby, Doctor Doom, that era of Marvel stuff, I kind of seared in my brain a little bit that Doom is just always one of those characters that he's just unbelievably cool. Like he kind of sums up the cool aspect of Marvel Comics. So like a writer like Hickman really taking him on is definitely exciting.
Before we wrap up, out of curiosity, I guess the most expensive comic book is still Superman #1. What about Silver Snail? What's the most expensive comic book you've ever sold?
During 2020 and 2021, comics, like old comics, really went pretty wild. There's a lot of new collectors getting into them. So there's some books that went for the last 10 years were kind of hovering around $200 to $300 book that over the last few years have gone up into the thousands. Like we sold a giant size X-Men #1, which is the first appearance of like a lot of the really famous X-Men like Nightcrawler, Colossus, Storm. And that sold for over $6,000 and it was in kind of mid-range condition. But that's a book that traditionally was going for $600 was its top 10 years ago.
And I'm sure it's just going to keep going up and up, including the rare ones and imports and other collector's editions and all that. So where can we learn more about Silver Snail, Brian?
So yeah, our website, silversnail.com. Any of our social media is all under Silver Snail TO. So we do a lot of our promotions on Instagram and our Twitter is the same handle.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for having me on.
So I got to ask you, Tech It Out listeners, what do you think about interviews like that where it's not really about tech, but kind of tech or geek culture like comic books? Want to make sure I'm serving my audience. So let me know. I'm going to spell my name in a moment. If you're on social media, I love hearing from Tech It Out listeners. If you want to jot this down or make a mental note, I am on X, formerly Twitter, as well as Instagram, Threads. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, and others. So all the big platforms. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman, Mark Saltzman. If you are not so much into social media and you prefer to send me an email, you can do so on my website. It's simply marksaltzman.com, MarkSaltzman. Either way, I look forward to hearing from you. Tell me what you think about topics like comics, or we had Kevin Smith on, the filmmaker behind films like Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing Amy and Dogma and the Jay and Silent Bob movies and all that. Are we stepping out of our comfort zone? Are you good with it? So would love your feedback. And hey, thank you so much for tuning into Tech It Out. I hope you enjoyed the variety of topics this hour. A huge thank you to Intel and and its Core Ultra PCs, ushering in the era of the AI PC. More info is at intel.com/AI PC. Speaking of computers, thank you to Western Digital. Make sure you reliably back up your important files on a regular basis onto one of their external hard drives or SanDisk SSDs. And thank you to Visa as well. All the best, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Looking forward to catching up with you next weekend for another episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.